So, I'm 43, and I'm still waiting for the adults who live here to show up. Now, let me explain. I'm married, I have a kid, I have a dog, I have a mortgage. I even got that drawer full of random cables and junk that nobody likes to throw away because, what else are you going to throw in that drawer? But I still don't feel like an adult yet. At least not a real one, like the ones I grew up with, right? So at what point is this supposed to happen? Is there a tribe of elders that are supposed to show up? They hand me a plaque and go, "Congratulations, you're officially competent, here you go." Because that definitely hasn't happened. At all. When I was a kid, I never really pictured myself as an adult or what that even looked like. I think there was a part of me that thought it was never gonna happen. I don't know why, I just never imagined myself doing things like going through mail or looking at furniture or being financially literate. But in my adult form, I'm eating cereal at midnight, watching some guy on YouTube explaining to me why Batman wouldn't survive the Resident Evil outbreak. It's a far cry from how adults spent their time when I was younger. Yeah, at least, that's what I remember. And I think this is especially true for people around my age, the ones who grew up analog. We drank from hoses, we recorded songs off the radio, we endured the nightmare of dial-up internet. Yes, the legends are true. But now we live with things like social media, cryptocurrency, and AI. Some things that will probably never change, like the printer never working when it's supposed to. But we went from the generation that was told to be home when the streetlights come on to manage your child's digital footprint. Seriously, bro? His digital footprint? I don't even know where his other shoe is half the time. Come on. Seriously. But my generation was sold this idea, right? This magic formula. You know the one I'm talking about. You go to school, you get a good job, you get married, you start a family, you work hard, you eventually own your house, right? Right. But speaking of things that nobody prepares you for, nobody tells you that home ownership is essentially life's glitchy and often buggy DLC. Your main missions include mowing the grass and basically just not burning the place down. But it's really long and full of expensive side quests like investigate the leaky hot water tank and hidden bosses like black mold and water seepage. Water being the main villain, by the way, just so you know. Spoiler alert. So being the game life is, you try leveling up your skills through plumbing and roofing tutorials on YouTube with very little XP gained. And your inventory is just a phone, hand-me-down tools, and the appearance of confidence. For example, our basement flooded the other day. We're new homeowners, we're finally feeling responsible, we're finding our groove, and then the basement decides to spawn a tiny pool in the laundry room. Awesome. So, I do the responsible thing. I do the adult thing. I stare at it, I assess, and I equip my plunger. The mission seems simple enough. The drainage hole is clogged. I need to unclog it. So I should probably either call a plumber or plunge the hole, right? Right. Well, somehow that just makes things worse. And for some reason, the water starts turning completely black, and I can only imagine what is making that color and smell. And if I'm being completely honest, I didn't plunge it because I thought it would work. I plunged it because I didn't want to look like I didn't know what I was doing in that moment. I wanted to be the competent one, right? The hero, if you will. Worst case, nothing happens. Best case, I look like I've played this level before. So anyways, we call my wife's parents. Because at some point, your brain just goes, all right, just summon the higher authority. We need a walkthrough on this one. It's basically the closest thing you can get to a cheat code in real life. But we explain everything to them, they listen, they ask us some questions, and then they suggest what my actual first instinct was. The one my ego chose to ignore. They go, call a plumber. Really? That's the advice? Call a plumber? Yeah, thanks. Tips. Obviously call a plumber. That was the first thing that I thought of. But my overriding thoughts were, nah, man, you got this. What could go wrong? But I don't know, for some reason when they suggested it, it felt reassuring. Kind of like, oh good, my instincts were actually correct. The council has spoken, permission to proceed with the obvious. And I don't know, for some reason it made me feel better. Why? I don't know, but it kind of did. We grow up thinking that adults have it all figured out, but now I'm not so sure they did. I think they were just quieter about not understanding their objectives. So now, when I look at others my own age, the so-called middle-aged crowd, it's become evident that we're really just exhausted former teenagers pretending we understand escrow and how to be parents ourselves. And parenting, wow. Parenting is actually pretty amazing, but with a special needs child such as my son, it's kind of like doing it on nightmare difficulty at times. Like no quick saves, no loot boxes, Tons of microtransactions though. And basically you don't get good. And trust me, there are days when I feel like I'm failing at something that matters more than anything that I've ever done. See, nothing can actually prepare you for the challenges that it presents, but then nothing can genuinely prepare you for the rewards either. The tender moments are rare, so when they do happen, they truly feel earned and become these crystallized memories. There really is a special and unequal dynamic that eventually does reveal itself, and it's love. Love and exhaustion at a depth that you didn't know actually existed. Nobody guides you. Nobody hands you instructions. They just hand you this baby and say, here you go, good luck, don't mess it up. And for the most part, you don't, you figure it out somehow. I mean, you learn very quickly kids are actually pretty resilient. And looking back, I'm not even sure they say good luck, but that's not the point. The point is, somehow, we manage, right? The bills get paid, kids get fed, the plumber gets called, the basement gets fixed. Not because we're masters of adulthood, but because we have no choice but to show up. Show up tired, confused, Googling things at 2 a.m., but we show up anyway. And maybe we'll never feel like professional adults, and maybe not everybody achieves a high score, but maybe adulthood is just confidently stating the obvious. See, I think that's the big misconception, that adulthood is this inevitable destination. One day you just wake up and go, oh, I finally understand everything. Download complete. And I no longer enjoy video games or candy. No. I think adulthood is basically damage control. It's emotional duct tape. It's texting people asking, is this normal? It's calling your parents at 43 because the basement flooded and you just need someone to say, yeah, that sucks, call a professional. Which ironically is just another adult. But it's learning how to beat this level from someone who's played it before. It's realizing you are simultaneously the child and the parent now. And that's kind of a weird dynamic too when you think about it. But here's the quiet part. I think we're doing way better than we actually think we are. See, we didn't get a manual, there was no tutorial, we just got dropped into the map, armed with nothing but the knowledge and abilities we acquired as teenagers. And yeah, sometimes we're wandering around hitting the wrong buttons, but we're here. Adults who dress the same as we did when we were kids. And some of us are still, gaming or watching cartoons, reading comic books, whatever. And there's others that move past that. But we're still calling for backup when the water backs up. We're still trying, never fully understanding finances or what half the tools your dad even gave you are for. But maybe that's it, right? Maybe adulthood isn't having it all figured out. Maybe it's just about playing the game, and searching for that infinite money glitch. And if any of this sounds like your life, welcome to my channel, 80 After 40. Hit subscribe and tell me in the comments what's your biggest not adulting yet moment, and we'll talk about it. And I'll see you again in the next one.